Yes, I had a cow named Minnehaha. Minnehaha was trying to give birth to a calf. Minnehaha couldn't. And most of the boys that went to Manassas that could help were grown, 16, 17, 18. The arms were too large to get in the calf, to get in the cow to bring the calf. So they told me the position of the calf in the cow, that her head was on the left side and was turned. And that the head would get up to the opening, but the neck wouldn't straighten up, and the calf couldn't get out. So they told me what to do and how to change my hands around and whatnot to get the calf's head coming straight so they could pull the calf out by the feet. And that is the way we deliver the calf.
Were you nervous about doing this, about delivering a calf? Were you nervous at all about doing this?
No, I want to see the experience.
Sure.
They would tell me what to do, and I did it. The bigger boys were.
Okay.
I went with my right hand and got one foot that was tucked under, and she couldn't get her feet out that way. Her feet's supposed to go that way, but the feet were tucked under. And they told me what to do. I took my hands and went in and straightened the feet out first. And then after I straightened the feet out first, I found out that her neck was turned and couldn't come out the opening. So then I took my hands and straightened the neck around. We put a rope around her neck and we pull it out in her feet. That was the beginning of my thinking of becoming a veterinarian.
Okay.
That experience.
Okay. And what year was this at Lincoln? I mean at Manassas?
I was about 12 years old. Well, I went to build a veterinary school at Tuskegee Institute. I was a dean and the founder of that school, of which was a very powerful school. Now, you got to remember the pattern in America. The pattern in America, they did not permit Chinese, Japanese, Filipinos, I know those people hardly to go to veterinary school unless they had pull. That when we opened up the School of Veterinary Medicine at Tuskegee, we had people directly from China and Japan to come direct without going through the process, because they had gone through the process of all the veterinary schools in America and they weren't accepted. Once in a while, every 3 or 4 years, they would pick one.
Let's back up for everyone for a second. Before you founded the Tuskegee School, what you did when you first got there, when you first got to Tuskegee?
Well, being black, when you first go to any school, you have to sell yourself. And I sold myself as a practitioner because I was highly trained. I had a BS degree, and I had 4 years at Penn, and 2 additional years of graduate work. See, so I was paid, highly paid, and I charged more than the local veterinarians because I put out more money than they had put out in going to school at that time.
As you said, at this time there were very few black men in veterinary medicine. Did you know that did you feel like you were a pioneer at this point?
I'm a pioneer, but before my time, there was a Dr. Bias who went to Ohio State in 1910, the first black to go to veterinary school in America and graduate. He taught at Tuskegee for years. But the reason he didn't stay long with that because he didn't marry the president's daughter.
Okay.
That got him out of a job.
I see.
And I went there to relieve him. And I stayed there for about 25 years. And I was the founder of the Veterinary School of Medicine there.
Describe what Tuskegee was like at this point. What year? This was 1936 when you started, yeah?
36. I went there in the fall of 35, September 29, 35. We started school in 36.
Okay. And you met your wife there, yeah?
I met my wife there. Number one, because we didn't have a veterinary school in America. And number two, we only had 13 at that time.
You didn't have a veterinary school for African Americans then?
No.
Okay.
And they had hell getting in the white schools. I went to University of Pennsylvania, had a hard time getting in. Had it not been for Miss A.M. Barnes, my lady who helped me, I wouldn't have gotten in. But I'm the only one who got every damn honor given since that time. Every honor, not one.
All of them, huh?
My white friends tell me, what the hell, Bill, what the hell are you doing? You're hogging on honors? No, I'm not hogging honors, man. I'm doing what I got to do, what they taught me to do.
Right. What kind of advice did you give to some of these young veterinary students that came to the school? What kind of advice did you give them?
Number one, the first advice you give any student going to school, you don't have white veterinary medicine. You have veterinary medicine.
Okay.
That was the first lesson. I was talking to Dr. Carl one day, and I wanted to know, what should I talk to him about? His advice was, let them know that you don't have white veterinarians, you don't have brown veterinarians, you don't have black veterinarians. You have veterinarians.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have to teach them. 80% of my work as a practitioner always been one white. 80%. They said it was because of the school. University of Pennsylvania had the best school and the oldest school.
Right. That was wise advice. Can you think of other lessons that you might have taught students when you were there? Other lessons that you taught students when you were there?
I taught them to be veterinarians, not white or black. Taught them how to be veterinarians, not white or black.
Did you have any advice for them in terms of overcoming obstacles the way you had?
When you go out in life, remember the golden rule. The golden rule. When you go out in life, the world is not going to give you a damn thing. You got to earn it. Mm-hmm. That's what I taught my white students, my brown students. And I've taught as many whites as I have blacks.
Okay.
And I lecture to as many whites as I do blacks now.
Did you enjoy teaching?
Yes. I enjoy eating their butts out. Get them straight about life. Because I've been out in life. See.
So you shared a lot of your experiences with you shared a lot of your experiences with them.
I tell them about life. Now I may be included in life, but life. See. That's the name of the game, is life. Well, yeah, everything basically had changed. It meant orientation for a new life.
Okay.
Because you were accustomed getting up anytime they called you at night or day on these short runs and then come back, you see.
So you had to learn how to be a civilian again.
You had to.
Okay. How were you received as a war veteran when you got back?
I was received very nicely, but I raised hell because of the way some of my men were received. Because your men make up the army, your sergeants, your corporals, and whatnot. Some of them just weren't received the way they were supposed to. Incidentally, we have more white students still at Tuskegee than we do as many as other schools. At University of Pennsylvania, got a quota for blacks. Most of your white schools have a quota for blacks. That's the reason the School of Veterinary Medicine helped out so. It helped out those blacks who want to be veterinarians, as well as those whites that couldn't get into veterinary medicine.
Over the years, did a lot more African Americans begin to get into the field?
How many years?
Over the years, did you notice that more and more African Americans began?
How did I notice?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I noticed those that had been turned down. Now, for an example, went in veterinary medicine from 27 to 31. Mm-hmm. No, I'm wrong. 27 to 31, I went to Lincoln. Mm-hmm. 31 to 35, I went to Penn. Mm-hmm. See. But you still have students who want to get into veterinary medicine, cannot go to veterinary medicine. And that is the reason we have at Tuskegee today twice as many whites as you have blacks.
Because
they couldn't get into veterinary school, the whites.
I see.
Of the 13 or 14, no, it's more than 13 or 14, there's 31 veterinary schools of medicine we have today. But when I took it, it was about 10 to 13. Mm-hmm. And still you don't have enough veterinarians. Oh. Yeah, I went there because the government wanted me to go. I wouldn't have gone, but the government asked me to go. So special work.
What did the government want you to do?
Special diseases and tuberculosis of which other veterinarians could not control and didn't know about.
Tell me about this work that you were doing there.
My work was to supervise the eradication of tuberculosis from all of the great Northwest.
Wow.
I was a supervisor of it and kept it going and kept the men going.
How many animals would you test in a day?
Well, I was an expert at it. I could do 1,000 a day.
1,000? 1,000 a day? Wow.
I could shoot 1,000 in the tail a day. You call it the caudal portion of the tail. Back right behind where the anus, about an inch either way, you'd give the shot. I always give mine on the left side. Mm-hmm. Because if you gave them on either side, you'd get to the point you wouldn't know what to read. So I always gave mine on the left side.
And you were supervising other people that were doing this work also in Fargo?
No, I would supervise my attendants. Uh-huh. But I'd make certain that they would supervise it correctly.
Okay.
See, I had about 8 or 10 men working under me. And I had to make certain that my work was perfect because I was the only black man.
I see.
See.
Did you feel like you were held to a higher standard? Do you feel like they held you to a higher standard?
Sure you do. In my day, to be a veterinarian, you had to have the high standard. Mm-hmm. I had 4 years of college before I took 4 years of veterinary medicine. Okay. See. But if you went to a certain school, and if you were white, you could take 2 years of high school and go directly to veterinary medicine. See.
But the bar was higher for you.
Yeah. So I had 4 years in high school and 4 years in college and 4 years in veterinary medicine.
Okay. It's a lot of school.
I'm one of the most highly trained.
It sounds like. So when you were in Fargo, you were also working on some Indian reservations.
As a practitioner, I worked on all of the Indian reservations. I was in charge, supervisor of the Indian reservations and tuberculosis work. And under me on the Indian reservations, they were half white and half black.
Okay.
And maybe one Indian that had veterinary medicine, and we were teaching them how and when, and how to get along with Indians, how to do it. Because in the Indian population, you find as much prejudice among them as you do in place else. Okay. See, your white-looking Indian would get preference over your darker-looking Indian.